Welcome to the Profitpreneur Power Play podcast, your daily dose of strategies, insights, and action steps to grow your business and build your freedom. It's time to stop playing small and start making power plays.
Well, everybody talks about the highlight reel of our life and our business, right? Especially business, right? The sales, the milestones, and the wins. But what about the work that nobody sees? Well, that's the part that really builds your business. And no one understands that better than Dr. Bob Clark, who spent over 30 years running IVF labs, helping create 30,000 babies while also building a business on the side, an online business. So he went on to become a six-figure earner in both healthcare and online marketing and retired years ahead of his schedule and now leads the Part-Time Prosperity Tribe, where he helps entrepreneurs reach freedom without burnout. Thank God, right? So his topic for today is the invisible work that builds your business, because the things that you're doing right now when nobody's watching are the exact things that will pay off later. So I'm excited to see what Bob has to say. Got my notes out. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Val, what's going on?
Oh, I'm just excited. I'm excited. You really brighten up our midweek.
I'm glad. Yeah, I was telling Val guys that before we started that I'm wearing my sweatshirt because in Southwest Florida it's cold. So I gotta wear the sweatshirt today. I probably only wear it like twice a year, but
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna hand the mic over to you and leave you to it.
all right, appreciate that. Thanks, Val. Hey guys, what's going on? Good to see you again on this Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about the invisible work that builds your business. All right. So what invisible work am I talking about? Well, have you ever felt like you're working your butt off, like you're really working hard in your business, doing all the right things, doing everything that you should be doing, and nothing's happening? Ever feel that way? I have many times. That's the invisible stage of your business. The things that you're doing that are actually growing your business, but you can't see it. All right. So here's the thing. Most of the progress in your business happens long before anybody notices. Now, on social media, we always say like that's people's highlight reel, right? Well, it's also the parts of their business that you see are working, right? The leads, the sales, right? The things that are happening for them, right? Their 4, 5, 6-figure launches, all that stuff, right? That you see on social media. What you don't see is all the stuff that led up to that, because it's boring and there's not much to show for it. And you can just talk about it, but you can't really show any results from it because they're building, they're growing. And that's really what I want to get with you guys today about is, not giving up when the invisible stuff isn't showing results, because it doesn't. And a lot of people don't get that. They get the imperfect picture from social media that you do X and you're going to get Y. And, that might be true, except there's about 5 or 6 or 7 steps between X and Y that you've got to do before you show the results. And so that's really what I wanted to talk about. It's an important topic because I've been doing a lot of work with people who have continually started and stopped their business, right? It's like a cycle. Start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. And lots of reasons for it. But one of the big ones is that they don't recognize that just because they're not getting results doesn't mean that something isn't happening in their business, because it is. I think the best analogy that I can think of is a tree, right? The roots of the tree, that's the foundation. That's the invisible stuff that nobody sees. It's underground. But without the roots, nothing else happens, right? Without the roots, you don't get the tree growing. Without the roots, you don't get the branches. You don't get the leaves. You don't get the fruit, right? You don't get any of that without the roots. So all this invisible work you're doing, it's on your root system of your business. And that's why it's so important not to give up when you don't see the results. And so why do we avoid it, right? Well, social media, number one, has trained us to think that if it's not public, it doesn't count. And that's not true either, right? I mean, just because you're not posting about it doesn't mean it's not happening. We avoid it because it doesn't give us any quick wins. The invisible work doesn't really give us quick wins, doesn't give us those dopamine hits that we all love, right? The pleasure centers in our brain don't get stimulated by invisible work that don't show results. But here's the thing. What's invisible today will show up visible in the near future. And you have to believe that. Right? It's one of the hardest things to get people to understand. And one of the best examples is mindset. Right? Hey, Jeff, good morning, friend. Mindset, right? The work that I did on my mindset, coming from an employee background, was the most important work I ever did on my business. Yet it was 100% invisible. Nobody knew I was doing it. I could maybe share some little wins here and there, but really it was invisible. The changes that were happening very gradually inside my brain as I kind of changed my thoughts from being like an employee to an entrepreneur. And that's one of the best examples, but there's lots of examples. Let's kind of dig in. What is this invisible work that I'm talking about? Well, here's some examples, like writing emails to your list when nobody's replying or hardly anybody's opening, because you're trying to get the interest going. It's showing up with content consistently, even when engagement is low. Right? It's following up with prospects when it feels really awkward and quiet, and you keep getting no after no after no. You know that book Go for No, right? The whole basis of that is that you have to get a certain number of no's, and it's different with every person, but you got to get a certain number of no's before you get yeses. Those no's are the invisible work that nobody hears about. We talk about the yeses. We don't talk about the no's so much. It's spending time learning, right? Learning new skills, mastering things, refining your message, building up your skill level, right? It's not heroic. It's not stuff that you really post on Facebook very much or on social media. Yet it's the whole root system of your business. It's so important. Some more examples. It's the tracking your numbers. It's the keeping your budget, right? It's like I said, it's the mindset work. It's connecting with others, commenting on posts, reaching out on Messenger. Those little things that we do every day to start building connections with our prospects that they're not seen. People don't really see it. And it's following through on promises when no one sees it. So the invisible work is quiet, but it's what actually grows your business, right? So I'm going to give you a personal story here. And it's a good example of not understanding that what you're doing can make a difference even to one person. Right? So it's all related to this. So when I was getting started, a couple of years into it, I decided I was going to go into YouTube very heavily. And I started my channel and I started making YouTube videos, mostly for my part-time crowd. And boy, I wish I had continued, right? I slacked off and I got diverted and I got, chased the shiny objects. And if I had kept going on my YouTube channel, I'd be gold right now. So I'm back to it, but Jeff knows what that means. Jeff understands that, right? You get going on something and it doesn't seem to be working so well, so you can move on to something else. But it was the invisible work. So let me continue with this story. So I was making videos, getting very low engagement, right? Some views, maybe one comment in the first 20 videos that I did, right? No shares. And it really felt like, why am I doing this? Why am I banging my head against the wall doing these videos when almost nobody is watching? And right about that time, and I may have told this story, Jeff might know this story already, but right about that time, I was going to one of my first marketing events. And it was the first day of the event. And I walked in, I really didn't know anybody. Right? My wife didn't come with me, so I really didn't know anybody. A little intimidating, right? You could walk into the back of this big auditorium, and there's lots of people on both sides of the center aisle. So I'm walking up the center aisle, trying to find a seat so I could sit and watch the event. And as I'm looking around, I got startled because somebody jumped out of their seat by the, by the center there, and jumped in front of me. And she kind of stopped my path. And she's like, "I know you." And I'm thinking to myself, how do I know this person? Right? Like, I'm searching my memories, right? I couldn't come up with anything. And I'm like, "Sorry, I can't place you." And she goes, "Oh, no, 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 no. You don't know me, but I've been watching your videos and they changed my business." Right? I'm part-time too. And it's given me the impetus to keep going when I wanted to quit. So I just wanted to thank you for making your videos. They're really, really helpful for me. And I was like, here I thought that, number one, nobody was watching. Number two, if they were watching, it wasn't helping. So I said to her, I said, "Oh, that's great. I'm so happy to hear that. Why don't you ever comment or reach out and let me know which videos that you like the best?" And she's like, "Oh, I never comment. I stay in the background." So the invisible work, right? The invisible prospects. It's all fits into the same thing. So if you're doing stuff that you think really isn't making a difference, you don't know who's watching. You don't know who's reading, right? You don't know which message is going to help which person until it does. So it's another reason to keep going on this invisible work, even when you think it doesn't matter, because it does. If it helps one person, it probably helps 50 who you haven't met, you don't know about. So just keep that in your mind as you're doing stuff. Don't be so eager to pull the plug on things that don't appear to be working until you're really sure they're not working, because chances are they're helping people that you don't know about. It's a little story there. So this is all stuff that we all encounter, right? All marketers. Val hits it. Kim hits it. Everybody who I know who are marketers has this step where it's doesn't seem to be working, but it's working in the background and it's growing that root system underneath. And it's so important, like I said, just to understand that, because if you don't, you're going to pull the plug on things way too quickly. You're going to stop doing that important invisible work that ultimately will result in the fruit on your trees, right? The results that you're looking for. You're never going to get it because you're going to pull the plug on the work that's growing it, right? And it's invisible. So why does this matter? It's really part of the compounding effect, right? Every single piece of content you put out there, the invisible work, it's like a deposit into your future account of results, right? It's like a little deposit. And I don't remember who told me this. It might have been Ray Higdon, but he said, I think it was Ray. He said, every piece of content you put out there is like a little worker going to work for you, promoting your business. And so that's why it's important to put as many out there as possible. And even though you might not get the feedback, the results that you're looking for, they're still out there working for you. So each piece of content, each piece of invisible work that you're doing, it's like a little deposit into that bank of work that marketers need to do before they see results. And the invisible work, it compounds over time, just like interest in your bank account. So you're not going to notice it day to day, but it's stacking up, right? And it's growing those roots. So important. Your job is to keep feeding it, right? To keep feeding the beast, if you will, the content. Keep making the content. Keep reaching out to people on Messenger. Keep making the phone calls, even when things don't seem to be happening. Because guess what? As you're doing it, some things are happening in the background that you don't see. You're getting better. Your skill level is increasing. So let's take Messenger, for example. As you're reaching out to people, you're starting to learn what gets responses and what doesn't. And you start adapting how you're doing your messages. This is all part of the underground, the invisible stuff that people will never see unless you tell them about it, right? They'll never see it. So that's super important. How do you stay consistent with invisible work? That's probably the hardest thing. Well, I'm going to give you a little shift here in thinking that might help you. It really helped me. The key to it, I found, is to shift how you're measuring your success. Okay, this is probably the big take-home message from today. You got to shift how you measure success. So most of us are taught to track outcomes, right? Leads, sales, conversions, right? Views. We track outcomes, and that's fine. But just for a while you're not seeing those outcomes that you want, and you're staring at zeros on your page and it's depressing, what if you started tracking your effort instead of outcomes? Right? Did I show up today? Did I send that email? Did I do that video? Did I reach out to that prospect? Not did they say yes or no? Not did my emails get, a high open rate? No, but did you do it? What if you tracked that for a while? I did that, and it made a huge difference, because instead of seeing all zeros in my columns of my outcomes, I was seeing check, 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 did it. And psychologically, it just changed my entire outlook on my business. And it comes from the belief that, okay, eventually I'm going to get these outcomes that I'm looking for, but until I do, I'm going to track my effort. That was the biggest switch I made that stopped this whole start-stop cycle. Tracking your effort. It's really cool when you do it. So you celebrate, instead of celebrating sales, you're celebrating your effort. You're celebrating little micro wins. Hey, 7 days straight, right? I kept my word. I did what I said I was going to do. Right? This is my 5th straight day of reaching out to 2 people. They didn't say yes. Some of them didn't answer at all, but I did the work. I reached out. You celebrate those micro wins, and I'm telling you, it'll make a huge difference. So instead of asking yourself, right, did I generate a lead today? Did I make a sale today? What if you ask yourself, what's one invisible thing I can do today that will help build the foundation of my business? It's a whole mindset shift. It's a paradigm shift in how you look at this. That's the most important thing about today that I'm talking about, is shifting from measuring your outcomes to measuring your effort, to celebrating your outcomes to celebrating your effort. It's a huge, huge mind shift, and it really works. All right, so let's close it out. So you might not see the seeds you're growing, right? You might not see the results of your labor yet. That doesn't mean that these seeds aren't taking root, that the roots aren't growing. That's just about to break the surface, and that tree is about to grow. Right? It's happening. If you're doing the work, I promise you, it's happening. You're growing. Your skills are growing. Your mindset's growing, right? You're developing your business foundation, and pretty soon you're going to start seeing the results of your labor. But until you do, make that shift that I talked about, right? Start measuring your effort instead of your outcomes, and it'll open up a whole new world for you. I promise you. All right, Val, that's what I got today, Val.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bob. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Listen, you guys, the truth is the most powerful work that you'll ever do is typically the kind that nobody sees or applauds for. So it's that daily discipline, the learning, the refining, and the showing up even when it's quiet. That is what builds a business that lasts. And inside the Profitpreneur membership and community, we help you turn that invisible work into visible results with system, strategy, and mentorship as amazing as Bob, right, that he just gave you, that helps keep you moving forward long after motivation fades away. So go ahead, look in the description and start your 14-day trial, because the work may be invisible now, but the results,
It's coming. It's coming.
they're coming. You will see them. You will see them, just like seeing that tree, right? So
Yeah.
thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And we will see you back here again tomorrow, same time, same channel. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Welcome to the Profitpreneur Power Play podcast, your daily dose of strategy.